Hello class, and welcome to Unit 1, Video 3. Today we're going to go ahead and look at solving inequalities. And the learning target for today is that you will be able to solve inequalities. So let's go ahead and look at an example. Cooney is trying to decide between two rate plans offered by a wireless phone company. All the information for Plan 1 and Plan 2 are listed here. So let's go ahead and look at question 1. Example 1 says, write an inequality, which we're talking about today. So it probably is good to know what an inequality is or refresh your memory on what that is. So to have an inequality, it's, greater than or less than or greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Any of those signs makes it an inequality. Okay, we want to write an inequality to compare the price of Plan 1 to the price of Plan 2. And what this really wants, it's missing some wording. We want to compare the monthly access fee. Okay, well, if I look at Plan 1, the monthly access fee is $35, and Plan 2, the monthly access fee is $55, so it wants an inequality. Well, which number is bigger? That's 55, so remember the inequality sign opens up to the bigger number, and then we read it as 35 is less than 55. Okay, so this is the less than sign, because you read from left to right, and the smaller side is on the left. If I look at this one, if we read from left to right, see how it's the bigger side? This is a greater than sign. Okay, so let's look on to example 2. Example 2 says, write an inequality to compare the price of the plan of the additional minutes in Plan 1 to the price of additional minutes in Plan 2. So additional minutes in Plan 1 is 40 cents. The price of additional minutes in Plan 2 is 35 cents. Okay, so what is going to happen here is who's bigger, 40 cents or 35 cents? 40 cents. So if you remember back to elementary school when they talked about inequality signs, the alligator eats the bigger number. So that's the bigger side here. If you can see, there's kind of like an alligator mouth. So if I read this, 0.4 is greater than 0.35. So there's example 2. Moving on to question 3. It says, if Cooney knows that she will use no more than 400 minutes per month, which plan is best for her? Well, if you look at Plan 1, there's 400 minutes included for $35. And if you look at Plan 2, there's 650 minutes included for $55. So which one is the smarter one to make? Plan 1. It's only going to cost $35 because she's not going to use more than 400 minutes. And the last question in regards to the cell phone problem here is, if she uses $1,000 per month, which plan is best for her? Okay, well, I'm going to just go ahead and write this as an equation first of all. If we are looking at Plan 1, Plan 1 is going to cost us $35 plus 40 cents for any minutes that are over 400. So really what I need to do is the minutes minus 400. Because any minutes over 400 we have to charge for. So in this problem, our M is 1,000. 1,000 minus 400 is 600. So I'm only paying 40 cents for the 600 minutes. And if I calculate this, my Plan 1 will cost $275. If we go ahead and look at Plan 2, and let's just write an equation, same idea, it's going to cost $55 plus 35 cents extra for any minutes over 650. So it's the minutes minus 650. Let's see if that makes sense again. If I plug in 1,000 minus 650 gives me 350. So that means I only have to pay extra for 350 minutes. So if I multiply this and calculate on my calculator, I get $177.50. So which plan is the best plan for her? That is Plan 2. Okay. So let's go ahead and actually solve some inequalities. In order to solve inequalities, you want to follow the same steps that you do when you solve an equation. The only difference is if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must reverse the inequality symbol. I like to say you need to flip it. Okay, so if you multiply or divide and you had a greater than sign, you got to flip it and it's going to become a less than sign. Okay, biggest thing to remember. To graph inequalities, use an open dot for less than or greater than. Okay, so when we're graphing them on a number line, we'd have an open dot because it's not included, and a solid dot for less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So fill it in. That means it's included. and then we'll be shading. So we'll be using these tips as we go ahead and solve the rest of the problems here. So let's look at example 4. It says solve and graph this inequality. So we have 11y minus 9 is greater than 13. I'm just going to rewrite it here. All right, so we solve it exactly the same way. The only difference is if I multiply or divide by a negative, I have to flip the sign. So I add 9. So I have 11y is greater than 13 plus 9 is 22. And then I would divide both sides by 11. 11 is positive, so my sign does not flip. So y is greater than 22 divided by 11 is 2. Okay, so here's my solution. Now I need to go ahead and graph it. And I would just recommend, this is 2, 1. It's greater than, so it is not equal to, so I have an open circle. And then to be bigger than 2. What numbers are greater than 2? Well, 3 is greater than 2, so I shade this way. Okay, so there is example 4. Example 5 says solve and graph this equation. So first things first, minus 9. So I have 7x is greater than or equal to negative 12 minus 9 is negative 21. And then I would divide by 7. 7 is positive, so my sign stays exactly the same. So x is greater than or equal to negative 3. So on my number line, I have negative 4, negative 3, negative 2. This one has an equals, so I will be filling in my circle. It's a closed circle. And it says x is greater than. Well, to be bigger than negative 3, negative 2, negative 1 is. 0 is bigger. 1 is bigger, so I'm going to shade this way. If you like to go like this above the line to show which way you're shading to, that's fine. Either way is fine to me. All right. Example 6. Let's go ahead and look at 6. It says solve and graph this problem. So first thing I would do is subtract 1 from both sides. Okay, subtracting by 1 does not mean I flip my sign. We can subtract, so it's negative 1. Now I would multiply both sides by 5. So I have 2n minus 6 is greater than negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. Now I would add 6. So I have 2n is greater than negative 5 plus 6 is 1. And last step, divide both sides by 2. So my final answer is n is greater than 1/2. Okay, should this be open or closed circle? It's going to be an open circle at 1/2, and I'm just going to label this as 1/2, 0, 1, 1.5, negative 1/2. So there I go. And it's going to be an open circle at 1/2. Okay. Sorry, open. Do it up here. Open circle. And then I'm going to say n is greater than 1/2. To be bigger than 1/2, I'm going to go to the right. So this is what my final answer would look like. Just a reminder, use open dot for less than or greater than, and use closed dot for less than or equal to. That didn't copy right, so it should be fill dot for less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. All right, moving on, example 7. I would think number 7 would be a great problem for you to pause the video and try this one on your own, and then make sure you graph your solution on a number line. So pause the video, try example 7, and when you come back, we'll go over number 7. All right, looking at number 7, subtract 14 from both sides. So I have negative 8n is less than or equal to negative 14. Then I would go ahead and divide both sides by negative 8. So n, I divided by a negative, has to flip my sign. I would have 14 over 8, which is the same as 1.75. So n is greater than or equal to 1.75. Now I need to go ahead and graph my solution on the number line. and I'm just going to label this as 1.75. Okay. Open or closed dot? Well, it's equal to, so it's going to be closed. And then if I am greater than, to be greater than 0.75 would be to the right. Go to 2, 3, those are all bigger than 0.75, so shade to the right. All right, now would be a good time if you wanted, you could pause the video, write down any questions you have, because then we're going to move into looking at writing inequalities given words, so sentences. So if you have any questions, go ahead, otherwise you can pause the video and come back. So 8 says, we want to write the inequality that is twice the sum of a number and 5 is no more than 3 times that same number increased by 11. Okay, so up here in the directions it says define a variable and write the inequality. So we don't know what n is, we don't know a number, so I'm just going to let n equal a number. Okay. So then it says twice the sum of a number and 5. So 2 times the sum of a number and 5, so plus 5. It has to be in parentheses because it's twice the sum of those two things. Is no more than, okay, to be is no more than, this has to be less than or equal to, okay, 3 times that same number, so 3 times that same number increased by 11, so plus 11. So there is my inequality. Biggest thing is that people get confused when it's sum of a number. You have to have that, the parentheses around there. Okay, example 9. It says 9 less than a number is at most the same number divided by 2. So once again, n will be some number. I don't know what it is. If you wanted to, you could use x. 9 less than a number. Okay, so that means I'm going to take my number, subtract 9, is at most. Okay, is at most, so less than or equal to. Can't be bigger than it. The same number divided by 2. What was the number? N divided by 2. Okay, so there is my answer for problem 9. These problems are a little tricky, so I really would recommend that maybe you reread through 8 and 9 and make sure you would get the same inequalities. Okay. Number 10 says a homemade bracelets. We're not going to go ahead and do the MCA today. We're just going to, homemade bracelets are for sale for $4.75 each. Which inequality can be used to find how many bracelets Caitlin can buy for herself and her friends if she wants to spend no more than $22? Okay, no more than $22. The biggest thing is it's not $22 per bracelet, it's $4.75 per bracelet. So we know we're going to have a $4.75B. Okay, so that eliminates C and D. Now looking at this, the only difference is this inequality sign. So she can spend no more than $22. So does this have to be less than or equal to 22, or should this be greater than or equal to 22? Has to be less than. Can't be greater than, because if it is, she doesn't have any money to pay for it. So it'd be example A. And one last problem. The Middleton High School girls basketball team wants to make at least $2,000 on their annual mulch sale. The team makes $2.50 on each bag of mulch sold. How many bags should the team sell? Okay, well, how many should they sell? They make $2.50 per bag sold, so B. And they want to make at least $2,000. So should it be this is less than 2,000, or should this be greater than? Should it be greater than 2,000? Could it be equal to? Yeah, they want to make at least, so they could make exactly. And then in order to solve this, divide both sides by 2.5. So B is greater than or equal to 2,000 divided by 2.5 gives you 800. So if they want to make at least $2,000, they have to sell at least 800 bags of mulch. Okay, so there is our solution to example 11. Okay, if you have any questions, please make sure you write them down. Otherwise, you'll go ahead and do the Unit 1 Practice 3 sheet. So have a good day.